Okay, welcome back. I hope you did that little exercise. I mean, dude, come on. We're answering 2 questions here. If you didn't do the exercise, what the hell is wrong with you? You paid a lot of money to be in this class. You want the results. If you want to get the results, do the exercises, right? I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking to the other dude who's listening who didn't do the exercise. Other dude, quit being a pussy. Do the exercise, because if you don't do the work, you won't get the results and you're just wasting time, right? So now, let's get cracking. Now, when you are a consultant, basically your job, aside from being in the business of bending your clients to your will, I know that sounds crazy, but that's really what you have to do, right? Your other job is that of a reverse engineer. So usually what you do is you say, okay, dude, you want to be here, you're here now. How do we reverse engineer all the steps to get you from here to here? And then you start deploying those steps, right? Pretty simple mechanically. I'll walk you through how to do it with some strategies that I use. But we need to do that same process for you right now. Otherwise, we're going to be on this kind of crazy trail and we're not going to be as efficient as we could be. So thing number 1 is time, right? Consulting business is about 2 things, really: time and money. So sort of you're being paid for your time. Not really, you're being paid for value, but you have to show up and do something in the consulting business. If you figure out how to do nothing in the consulting business, let me know, okay? But so far, we know you have to show up and do something. So before we do anything about pricing, market selection, or whatever, I need you to decide what you want your time schedule to be. The best way I can help you with that is to show you how mine works, therefore giving you a concept to model, right? Now, there's no right or wrong way to do the consulting business as long as you get the results for your clients. However, I found a way that's working really, really well for me, working well for every single person I've shown it to, so maybe this will be efficient for you as well. So let's get started talking about the running of the business on a global picture. So we're not going to get into the micromanagerial tasks at this point, but the global structure of your business. Basically, you do really 3 things in exchange for money, maybe only 2. Talking to people, thing number 1, right? As a consultant, we interact with clients usually on the phone. You may choose to do it in person. I rarely ever do unless I feel like it and they feel like it as well, but it's very, very rare. So talking to people. Some of you may choose to do some done-for-you stuff. I occasionally do some done-for-you stuff, usually during the allocated time that I have set aside for talking to people. And then the third thing, funny as it may sound, thinking about them, right? I'll also include in the thinking about them thing, answering emails, etc., right? So these are the 2 that you got to block out time for. Thinking about them, I'll go ahead and break it to you now, you're going to be thinking about them all the time. Never really from a state of anxiety, but once that client's situation is in your reticular activation system in your mind, you're going to see things that are relevant to your clients all the time, which is great. And then you'll say, hey dude, I was thinking about you earlier. I just saw this article in the newspaper. I cut it out for you. I'm going to FedEx it to you. It shows you how a guy in your industry doubled his business, whatever. Hope you enjoy it, right? But anyway, the main stuff you're going to be doing in exchange for money, talking to people and doing some stuff for them if you choose to do stuff for them. Otherwise, you're just talking and thinking. Hey, that's what we should have called the class, Talking and Thinking Secrets, Diamond.biz, Platinum 2000, okay? Now, in terms of the structure of your business, we got to make a lot of decisions. Let's go ahead and make them now so we can build on this solid foundation, right? First thing we need to understand is there's nothing more important to me than your quality of life. Well, actually, my quality of life is slightly more important to me, right? But from this educational standpoint, what I want you to get out of this class is not only to make the money that you want to make, but to do so with the quality of life that you want. So let's focus on the quality of life thing first and then make the monetary goals fit into that quality of life. So the first thing we need to think about is this. If we accept the premise that your main tasks are talking and thinking, 2000.biz, right? Then we need to determine now how many times per month you want to talk to your clients. Whatever you decide is okay. If you want to talk to them weekly, great. If you want to talk to them daily, great. I mean, they probably aren't going to want to talk every day, but whatever. You know, your clients are your clients, right? And on the other hand, we want to figure out exactly how long you want to allocate for each conversation, right? So now, while it's fresh in your head, a lot of times your gut response is right. While it's fresh in your head, go ahead and write this down. As part of your offer, ignore the price, ignore everything. As part of your primary offer, right, this preliminary offer, how many times are you willing to talk to your client every month in exchange for money? And how long do you want to talk to them during each session? Okay, let's go ahead and do that now. I'll just stand here and listen to the renovations or hostages trying to escape. I don't know if you can hear that on camera, but it's very loud. So, you written that down yet? You should just go with your gut. Come on. Here we go. You ready? I'm watching you. Dude who's not writing it down, who's just waiting for me to resume. I'm not resuming because you haven't written it down yet. Okay, thank you for writing that down. All right, great. Let's go. So now, here's what I want you to figure out, right? Put all of this information just sort of to the side mentally for now. And what we need to figure out at this stage is what days of the week are you willing to work? And how many hours per day are you willing to work during that time frame? So for me, for example, I'm willing to work Monday through Friday, take every weekend off, and I'm willing to work 9 until noon. Now, when I say work, what I really mean is I'm willing to perform these 2 tasks during those times and only during those times. Now, the thinking about them, answering emails and stuff, I'll do at my leisure, right? I figure, hey, that's my time. If I'm sitting around watching The Voice with the missus or something like that, not uncommon to have the laptop open, answering questions, etc. So you'll probably have the same approach too. I think scheduled email time might work for you. Doesn't work for me. A little more of a free spirit, you know what I mean? So how many days per the week and how many hours per day are you willing to do this and this? Talking and done for you, if you even do any done for you. We'll get into that in a minute. Right now, we just want to get this time structure down, okay? So go ahead and make that decision now. Whatever you think about is fine. If you want to change it, it's fine. Well, let's go ahead and get this down later because all of this affects 2 things. How much you're going to charge, and then the result of how much you're going to charge is going to be a significant factor in what segment of the marketplace you pursue. So let me give you an example of how my business works personally. So here we go. For my business, I decided arbitrarily, incidentally, I just sort of pulled this out of the ethers and it worked, right? I decided I would talk to people twice per month. I figured any more than that, it would get to be a job for them. Now, I do have to give you a caveat. With the amount that I charge per client, which is $9,750 a month just for the advice, excluding any done for you on a significant scale, I am willing to talk to them more than that if they want to. I've had it happen like twice ever, maybe, you know. So depending on who you're dealing with, that amount of interaction may be enough, maybe too much. You never know. That's what I chose. You chose whatever you chose. You choose whatever you want to choose, right? So for mine, times per month is twice. Basically every other week. So technically it could be 2.5 times a month or whatever, but I'm just assuming a month is 4 weeks, even though it's really 4.3 or whatever, right? So every other week for me, 2 times a month, give or take, right? Amount per session is 30 minutes, right? I have found that my clients, after the initial workflow gets started, they don't want to spend an hour or so on the phone with me. They got stuff to do. I got stuff to do as well, right? So 30 minutes, we check in, tweak, test, move forward, side to side, whatever we need to do, we're gold, right? Again, you may be different. Whatever you decide is cool. I'm giving you this example of how I run my business to illustrate how all of this planning comes together, okay? So now, I have made many, many changes to this schedule. I started out where I was willing to work like Monday through Wednesday, and I would do 9 to 6, and then I was going to take Thursday and Fridays off, so I did that, and it freaked me out, and I went through all sorts of different configurations and determined for me, I'm willing to work 5 days a week. However, I'm only willing to work 3 hours per day, right? That's 9 a.m. until noon. I figure 9 a.m.'s late enough for me to get the grogginess out of my head. I have a little infant boy, so he doesn't really let me sleep past, say, 5:30, right? But it takes me until 9 o'clock in the morning to get coherent after sleeping for 30 minutes, you know what I mean? So I'm willing to work 9 till noon. Don't want to work past noon. Want to spend some time with my little bride and my children and family. Whatever you want to do is fine. Now, here's why this is important. It is because we have now this structure, we can determine how many clients you can handle, okay? So, let's do some math. That's right, America, fun with math. So the first thing I did is I multiplied the days per week times the hour per day to give me 15 available hours per week, right? So now, here's the deal. I know that in a given week, I'm going to be talking to clients, or I have this amount of time set aside, 15 hours to talk to clients, right? So if each session is 30 minutes, here's how I structure my time. This is important. Most people would say, great, well, 15 hours, that means you could talk to 30 clients a week, right? Well, no, because I like to give myself a little buffer between conversations. So what I do is I have 2 calls scheduled per 90-minute block, right? And the reason why is if a dude is in the middle of something important, I don't want to stop him and go, hey man, I know you're paying me a lot of money and we're like on the verge of a breakthrough, but I gotta go because of the time, right? And I also don't want to be frazzled and like coming off of one guy going straight into the other conversation and like get confused. So I give myself that little 15-minute buffer. Makes life a little bit easier, kind of chill, you know what I mean? Therefore, here's the thing. I divide that 15 hours by 45 minutes because I'll really allow 45 minutes per client, right? So we'll say 15 hours (45 minutes) equals. So here's how you do this, by the way. You take your calculator and you say first, you go 15 or however many hours times 60 gives you the total minutes, and then of course you divide that by 45. So in this case, 15, I'm doing all this in my head. Okay, 15 by 60 is 900 minutes divided by 45 minutes per conversation equals 20 conversations, right? So now we know we can have 20 conversations a week, assuming all of these are true, right? That, well, 45 minutes per session allotted, right? I'm only talking for 30, but I give myself that buffer. I'm willing to work 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, all that stuff, math means 20 conversations a week. Now, remember, in my structure, again, you do your business however you want to do. Mine, I talk to them every other week. So I'm not talking to a client, I'm not talking to the same client every week, which means week number 1, I can talk to half of them. Week number 2, I can talk to another 20. So conceivably, I can have 40 clients, right? Because every other week. You see what I mean? So you structure yours however you want to. I give them 2 30-minute calls a week, or 2 30-minute calls a month, one every other week, right? So I'm able to now essentially double the amount of clients I get. Now I'll tell you, 40 clients is a lot of clients. That's more than I want, but this number is important. Whatever number you feel you can handle, right? But we need to make everything fit into your standards for your quality of life because it is your show, right? Your rules, otherwise you're living by someone else's rules, and that sucks. So this is how you determine the amount of clients you can have in your practice while still maintaining truthfulness to what it is that you really, really want. In my case, 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. I can talk to 20 different clients a week if I want to for a total of 40. Technically a little more than 40, but hey, no need to do that complicated level of mathematics, okay? So go ahead and do this now, right? Get this number of clients using this formula right now. It's really simple. Take the total amount of hours, multiply by 60 minutes, and then the total amount of minutes per session, right? To give you the amount of sessions you can do per week, and then how many sessions you're going to give a client. If it's 2 per month, then that gives you 40 clients or whatever per month. If it's 1 per month, then hey, you could essentially quadruple this if you want to. If it's 4 per month, then this number would stay the same, right? So let's go ahead and do that exercise now, and then we'll get to the part about some suggestions on how to determine your pricing, right? So do some math, not meth, math, and I'll see you in the next video.